Connecting the dots, connecting his guests to the world, creating more connections. Welcome to The Connection with your host, Jay Miralles, podcasting from the Parkville Studios.
Episode 13. I'm going to say her name right too. It's Allie Canals.
That's it?
Yes. Thanks for joining us on The Connection today. Today's program is brought to you by Cryotonic Active Recovery Center. So if you're looking to clear your aches and your pains and you're just feeling like blah, see us at Cryotonic. Check us out at cryotonic.com. So thank you so much for being with me on the show today, Allie. I really appreciate you being on The Connection. So I know that you probably weren't prepared. This is not something you prepare for. This is real life. So what have you done since yesterday?
What have I done? Well, I worked. I lead worship at my church. I had band practice. And there
you go.
There we go.
There you go. Much better. Yes. Band practice. Okay.
Band practice, and that's it. Just been working today.
All since 4:30 or whatever the event was last night, you did all that. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
It is. Most people like, I went home, made dinner, went to sleep. You know what I mean? So you were busy.
I did have dinner at some point, yes.
How long have we known each other? Literally, like probably short time, I think.
Maybe like a year.
Yeah, it was under a year. And where did we exactly meet? Do you remember? I think it was it at a meeting for something? Or
actually, the first time I saw you was at Chariots for Hope Gala last year.
Oh my gosh, that's the first time you've ever seen. Who is that dude right there, Jay Miralles?
That is what I said.
Are you serious? Who is that dude?
that?
Who's that dude? That's crazy because what's funny is the people who connect us, like Julie Schrader. So you are. Let's tell everyone what your title is, what you do, and then we'll get deeper into that. So then I'll get into the story. So what is your occupation?
I am the Director of Development and Marketing at Rejuvenating Women.
For how long now?
About 2.5 years.
And the volunteer coordinator.
Well, I do coordinate volunteers.
Yes.
We wear a lot of hats at Rejuvenating Women.
Absolutely. As a growing nonprofit, I mean, you take on as much responsibility as you can for the better of the organization.
Exactly right.
What called you there? What why, how did you end up starting?
This is a funny story.
Okay.
I just needed college credit for volunteering. So
funny how that works.
Yeah, I went to Grace University, and they had us do servant leadership training.
Yeah.
And so I got an email from another trafficking organization in Omaha.
Yes.
I met with them, and they said, "You're pretty organized. Maybe you could go over to Rejuvenating Women and help them out a little bit too."
Yeah.
So I went over there. I fell in love with Julie. She is my boss.
She's awesome, by the way.
We would meet for coffee every once in a while, and I'd just beg her for a job every time.
Well, so you volunteered a lot, and then every time you met, you just said, "Hey, hire me.
Are you ready to have your life changed?"
Oh my God.
Hire
That's a
me.
great line. Versus like, give me a job. You're like, are you ready to have your life changed? So you're organized. How organized?
I'm pretty organized.
Uber?
I can't live without organization.
Like, what would your closet look like? Is it all in line, coordinated, all that? No way.
Coordinated by color and what kind of clothes it is, yeah.
Are you serious? So are you the kind of person that's like, I've got to put everything away before I can rest?
I'm not OCD.
Okay, good.
Not like that, but it does make life easier.
It does, but how come I don't do it then?
Jay, you got to get with it, man.
Oh, I know. I'm serious. So we know what you do. We know where you work. Let's go on a more personal level. So what my goal today is to see how you are connected to community, connected to where you're from, how you got here, where you are in your journey. So randomly yesterday, Julie couldn't make it, understand that she has other obligations, and I'm so glad that you came in her place. So I said, hey, last second, you're gonna talk. And what was your reaction when I said you're gonna talk in front of all these people? Really immediately. Did you know?
I had an idea because I know Julie had mentioned it.
Okay.
I do a lot of speaking engagements.
Right.
But it doesn't stop the nerves. I get nervous every time.
I do too.
Yeah.
Transparently, I do too. People think, Jay, you're such a good talker. No, I'm not. Every
time. So I was a little nervous. usually I can follow along with a PowerPoint.
Right.
Really great.
Sure.
I know my stats.
Yes.
I know what we do at our organization.
You're prepared.
But when you just ask me to vamp for a couple of minutes,
Like, let's jam real quick. Here you go. I gave you like a 2-minute constriction, didn't I? Like 2-3 minutes. Didn't
Yeah.
I do that? And you're like, you looked at me like, like kind of like a blind acceptance. You're like, okay. Like when your mouth doesn't move and you're like, okay.
whatever you want.
Yeah, no doubt. So, and then we got a little deeper. I was like, does that bother you? Are you an introvert? I asked you that.
I think you did, yeah.
Are you an introvert? And you're like,
Yes.
yes. I was like, how can she be with her job? She has to be outgoing. You're also the lead pastor, or you're past worship director.
Yeah, I lead worship at my church.
Yes, at Grace
Bible Church.
Grace Bible Church. So I was kind of surprised that you said you were nervous. So, and then we got to talking a little bit more. And everyone has a story. Everyone has a journey, right? When people go networking and when people go out and about, they're like, hi, what do you do? What do you do? Oh, it makes me sick. And I know I'm not trying to be holy art thou or better than anybody else, because when I talk to somebody, I really want to know the core, the connection, who they are. And Allie, I've seen you probably 10 times.
Maybe,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Yeah, like, hey, how are you? Hi. I just thought, oh, there's the gal that sets up Julie, and you know what I mean? Think about that for a second. So that's what I knew and limited, but I never prejudged to say that's all you were. I just never spoke. But sometimes life strikes you and says, you better listen to her. Yesterday, I was just compelled to speak with you and ask you questions, right? You're probably thinking, this guy's a cop, with all the questions. So, and then I remember offering, hey, the bar's open, blah, blah. I don't know if you drink or not, because you don't know if people drink or not today. And what did you tell me yesterday?
I said, no, I don't drink. And you asked me why. And I said, well, I'm an alcoholic.
Right. And I was like, I actually didn't ask you why. You volunteered that. I said, why don't you drink? And you said, oh, I don't drink. I'm an alcoholic. Because, usually, like, imagine me asking, you don't drink? Why? Like, no, I remember you saying that. I was like, okay.
I know. And that's the response I don't say that a whole lot.
Right. Because that's not the first part. Why did you tell me?
Well, sometimes when you just say, no, I don't, people, they try and pressure you. Just
why?
have one. Just have one. Why don't you drink? Why are you a prude?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better to just get it out.
But who says that, right? Who even says, like, it's not a term that everyone comes out and is comfortable with, because there are people who are alcoholic that won't admit they're alcoholic. You just came out and it wasn't weird. I can tell you that. I was like, first thought is, how brave? Because you saw I was like, how brave for somebody I never really even spoke with a lot. I was cordial. We were very nice to and very professional to each other. But then I said to you, I've always wanted to stop drinking, right? Mm-hmm. It's easier said than done.
It is.
And then I peeled back the layers and I'm like, so tell me about that. Now I'm going to ask you to tell me about it.
Okay. Well, I didn't set out to be an alcoholic. I don't think anyone does.
No.
But I started using drugs when I was 16.
And why? Was it peer? Was it like available to you? Did you seek it? What was it?
It was just kind of a peer thing. Mm-hmm. I didn't think anything of it, but I must have a very addictive personality.
Sure.
Because I was hooked like that.
Like immediately.
Basically.
Yeah.
And they say it's a progressive kind of thing.
Yeah, where sometimes you're just social, recreational, mm-hmm. and then when you're alone and then you seek it, that's when you're probably addicted. You were right away?
Well, yeah-ish. Right from the first time I tried it, I wanted more, and that wasn't alcohol at that point.
Right.
That was...
You can tell me what it was.
that was just pot.
Okay, but still.
Let's be real. But
right.
I started seeking it out right away.
Absolutely.
And, over the years, that turned to other things.
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
I went to UNL.
Yeah.
Out of high school, and
it was
I was in a sorority.
Okay. Yeah.
That was available.
Yes.
I didn't realize at the time that I had a drinking problem, but I couldn't see that being carried out of parties every weekend.
Wow.
Was probably an issue.
Right, because you were probably thinking other people, and you're like,
We're all
you blew it
college,
off.
it's fine.
Exactly, because I think society, the movies glorify it, media glorifies it.
Mm-hmm.
As much as people say it's bad, your friends around you who are like, "Oh, Allie, it's cool. Don't worry, girl. I'll hold your hair for you. Don't
Yep.
worry." And then you thank them as if they're some valiant, noble knight or something, right? And you're like, "Thank you for being my hero and helping me." But really, it's enablement.
Basically.
So do you think holding on to those friends, or did you hold on to the same friends?
Not
Well,
really.
So
No.
you changed when, I'm saying during your addiction, did they stay your friends while they were, or did you just push them off?
Not that. I actually ended up, because of that, not just the drinking, but some other, mental health stuff. I had
Okay.
to drop out.
Really?
After,
Well, yeah,
Yeah, after about a year and a half.
sure.
But even dropping out didn't change anything.
You were just in denial of, okay, I'll just keep going forward.
Yeah,
Whatever.
at that point I could tell you, yeah, I'm an addict.
Yeah.
I have an issue, but I don't want to stop it.
So you knew, and you're just like, I like this too much.
Yeah, it's
When was the first, because we talked about this rehab, right? How many times did you go? When was your first time?
first was June, well, almost 5 years ago now.
Did you voluntarily put yourself in there, or were you intervened? Was it like, hey, I'm self-actuating, I'm going?
Well, like right after I turned 21 and I could access alcohol for my own,
Yes.
that's when, it went from 0 to 60.
Oh, I can imagine, right? Because you didn't need anyone else to do it for you,
No.
and you can just go anytime.
Yeah, that got really rough. So actually eventually got kicked out of college at
Wow.
Grace
Wow.
because of my use.
Oh my
And
gosh.
Grace University, they gave me every chance. And if it weren't for some of the people there, there's a good chance I wouldn't be alive.
I mean, that's something serious to say. Let's not brush over that. What makes you say that?
There are some people, especially my pastor, who
Yeah.
was my teacher at the time, the dean of women, my music professor, who just poured into me, and they knew I had this issue. And instead of just, kicking me to the curb right when they found out I had a drug problem, they got me into counseling. They walked with me. It was incredible. And all of them are still in my life today.
Isn't that, the people who are in your struggle will always be there for you.
Yeah.
It's the people who just enter when you're a champ that you have to worry about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You were there. They saw you, what you were doing, when you didn't even have to say a word.
No.
They knew you.
They did.
And they know you now. And they value your triumph in your journey. Where some guy like me who just met you, doesn't even know your past, right? Nor do I care, but I do honor it and I respect it, So, when I asked you to podcast with me, what was that, 2 days ago or something or yesterday? Was that yesterday?
That was yesterday.
Yeah, that was
night.
yesterday. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? Let's podcast. What did you think? What?
I thought my first thought was that's kind of cool. But
Have you ever podcasted before? Have you ever been a guest on a show yet?
I've been on the radio a few times.
Sure, absolutely. So you've done this.
But usually it's talking about my work.
Right.
No one ever asks you to just talk about yourself.
Well, that's what's most important, because people know what you do. They know how you serve the community. It's such a noble cause. But why people listen to this show, to The Connection, is because they want to know how you're connected. I want to go a little further. There's somebody out there right now listening to this show. Their friend is addicted like you were, and they were in trouble like you were, and they don't know what to do, and they're just watching this person struggle. What's your advice to that person? Let's name him Mark. Mark knows a friend that is struggling. What are you going to tell Mark right now?
Well, first, don't enable your friends, because that really hurts them in the long run.
So what are some ways that people enable them that aren't obvious? Because
Well,
that's enablement, such a big word, right? I'm not going to enable my friends, but what are some of the things that they do passively that might enable them?
Well, addicts are really good at manipulation, and I know because I manipulated a lot.
Yeah.
And that was into second chances. I won't do it again. I won't drink again.
And they want to believe you, don't they?
They do. Addicts don't realize it, but they are hurting the people that love them the most so much. But when you're in your head like that, So they'll make promises. I made promises.
Absolutely.
And I could never keep them. I had good intentions.
Sure.
Money.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
can I just borrow $10? I need this. Can I borrow
Oh,
$5?
wow.
But I'm going to go and
Use.
use.
I can never say that I've spoken with anyone this open about something like this. You know what I mean? Like, thank you for like talking with me. I just want to go a little further if you're comfortable. So now Mark's friend is lying and asking for second chances. And, you know, at what point does he call for help? Does he not get involved? Like, you know, Mark's probably like, I don't want to make her mad.
Yeah, but you know, sometimes truly loving people hurts their feelings at the time.
That's so crazy that you say loving people hurts their feelings at the time. Dang.
But you might be hurting them more by trying to make them happy momentarily. Because would you rather them lose their life, or would you rather them be mad at you for a little bit?
I'd rather them be mad at me for a little
Yeah.
bit. Straight up. I mean that. Like, and I won't think of that in the moment though, because Mark's probably thinking like, I don't want to make her mad. She's a good person. We went to school together. We're friends. That's my cousin. That's my neighbor. They need to let that go is what you're saying.
Yeah, and you can love people. You just gotta put in strict boundaries.
Okay, so that's important. Mm-hmm. And you got to stand. You're right, because I think we're in a non-conflict society where I don't want to make Allie mad. I don't want to say anything to her because if I do, she might not be my friend. Well, she might be dead.
Yeah. The people that loved me the most kicked me out of college.
Oh, dang.
I mean,
that's so awesome.
And yes, at the time, was I devastated? Of course.
You thought, my gosh, what did I do?
But the stipulation was you go and get treatment, and then when you can prove that you're stable, come back and graduate.
And you did.
And I did.
Oh my gosh. Do you know how many people voluntarily take themselves out of college? So not only did you get kicked out, they said, don't come back till you fix yourself up.
Basically.
And then you were like, I'll show you. And you came back.
I did. I did the adult program and I graduated. I mean, it took me how many years to get my bachelor's, but I did it.
Oh my gosh. So full disclosure, I don't even have my bachelor's. I don't. And I respect that you're not handed this piece of paper. You fought for that piece of paper.
I fought for it. I wanted it so bad.
Oh my gosh. I can't imagine. I mean, you know, some people are like, oh, my back hurts. I'm not going to go to work today. I have a cold. I don't feel like going out to your event. You said, I am broken. I am damaged. But that's not going to stop me. How do you use that today? Like, in what? You must be a fighter. Maybe not in the sense of like, I'm going to kick everybody's butt.
No, I get what you're saying.
But like, where is that where you draw your strength from?
Yeah, it changes your work ethic. So when I was using, there were no limits to what I would do to get what I needed.
Wow.
So there were times, you know, the nearest bar is a mile away. Well, my car was taken away. Fine, I'll walk in a blizzard if I have to go.
Wow.
Or, you know, stuff like that.
Yes.
Where there's just no limit. So today I use that for the good, and, you know, I get what I need because if I want it bad enough, I'll do it. That's
crazy to me. So the bad of the addiction, you're able to channel the energy and go, you know what? I walked a mile in a blizzard for a cup of alcohol or a glass of alcohol or whatever it may be. Oh, you want me to work a couple more hours so we can get this project done? Done.
Let's do it. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's great.
Yeah, so, which is I've never heard before because, you know, you just think, oh, she was addicted. Now she's not. Good for her. It's so much more than that. So you're taking all of your failures, your straight up blunders. You're like, man, what is that girl doing? Into, wow, what is that girl doing? Right? It's a different context. And I'm not trying to overpraise you, but your depth of, or your perception or your angle of what you're telling me makes me think like, it's making me analyze me like, gosh, there are things that we really, 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 really want bad in life. But how bad? How
Yeah.
bad?
How
And
far
then-
are you going to go?
Exactly. Like boxers, right? Who got punched all over, or like, oh, let's play football players. These guys got beat 285 times a game, right? And when they're done with football, they're like, their work ethic for some of them is still there. You know what I mean? And they're really driven. Farm kids, when they have to bale hay and they didn't get paid for chores, they work their tails off. Doctors or lawyers or people who work in the social world or nonprofits, it baffles me to see. I love to see where the work ethic comes from. And when I watch you set up, I see there's people who mosey. Do you know people mosey? They're like mosiers. You're not a mosier, right?
No, I get it done.
I've never seen you complain, and you're almost to a, I wouldn't say like you're a short to the point kind of person. Like, okay, let's get this done. Let's get out of here. I think you're just deliberate in what you do. You know? At meetings, you're quiet though. Why?
Well, like I said, I'm an introvert.
Okay.
I prefer more one-on-one,
Yeah.
but I'm so in my head, and that's not me throwing an attitude. That's just me kind of deciphering what everyone is saying. And I like to read people and, see beyond the, let me give you your business card and call it good kind of thing.
Totally.
So
Totally.
sometimes I just get lost kind of following everybody that I forget that I haven't talked in 10 minutes.
But I think it is kind of a skill to practice restraint. You know what I mean? I'm not it. Well, when I'm out, I want to be center of attention. So it's almost so I overcorrect, and so it blah, 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 blah. That's what happens to me.
Yeah.
Because I want to soothe people around me. I want them to think, oh, Jay's got it all under control, right? And I'm not saying like, hey, I'm an introvert. I'm saying I know that I have a voice inside my head that honestly says sometimes you're not good enough. The people they're going to need to hear from you, Jay, before they like you. That goes through my head. And I have to battle that. And I've gotten better over the years, but I do like to share my energy. And sometimes that is in the form of talking. But so as you've been working, in your role, helping, people who have suffered and the victims of sexual trafficking, what kind of skin does that take for you too? Because you can't separate work and home. There's no way I could do it. Can you?
I try to. I'm working more in an administrative development role.
Still.
But you still hear the stories. You still, I talk to the residents every day.
Yeah.
But work is and home is home. And when I'm at home, I try and separate myself as much as I can.
Is it a challenge, or is it just something you have to be consciously like turning it off?
It can be sometimes. I was program director. So I was, running the program about a year ago, and that was the hardest job I've ever done.
Oh yeah.
Because I couldn't shut it off.
Yeah, I get that.
So bless our program director today. She's a pro at it, but at least now it's easier for me to separate than when I was program director.
Understand. So that leads me to say, what does Allie do outside of your occupation? Like, okay, I know that you're, again, a worship director for Grace Bible, but outside of that, what else? What else?
I like to cultivate my friendships. I have a group of 5 very close friends.
Cool. You don't need 500.
No, I have 5, and that is more than enough. And they are great people, and I like to see them.
Yeah.
And, I joke that I'm like a 60-year-old in a 28-year-old body. So,
An old soul.
Yeah. So I don't, go out. Like one of my friends and I, we like to take the library art classes.
Yeah. That's cool. And they're free, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes there's a small fee.
Just like random stuff. I like to go out to eat, try new things. I'm all about the experience versus the spending the money kind of thing.
Yes. That's so awesome.
So, I'm a very private person.
Yeah.
I don't mind spending time by myself.
Oh, so you're comfortable with not isolation, but just being alone sometimes, where you can say, I just need my time. Some people, enjoy codependency. And I don't use that as a bad word, codependency. It's okay. If you're okay with codependency and you're thriving, great. But when codependency is bad, or when isolation is bad, where I just don't want to be around anybody. Do you read a lot?
I read sometimes, yeah.
Sure.
Right now I'm reading Boundaries by Cloud and Townsend.
Yes, Boundaries. Surprise.
Boundaries.
What other books have you read that you should recommend to other people?
Well, right now my church is in this Narnia challenge almost.
Okay.
So I'm supposed to be reading through all of the Narnia books.
Really?
The prize is a cookout.
Yeah.
I'm all about food.
Yeah.
So
I'm a foodie. I don't know if you know that. Okay, I cook all the time. I mean, obsessively. So why I cooked is to escape. When I cook, I never think of anything else but cooking. And I thrive on 8 hours of preparation for 20 minutes of consumption, watching people devour and them, from the first, like, wow, this is so good, and that to me, I think that comes from my heritage of being, part Filipino. That's our way to host, and that's what we were talking about yesterday. I love to be a host.
yeah.
And honestly, that's why I think I love networking events. I think it's one big house and people are just coming over,
You're very good at it, by the way.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. So in between yesterday and today, knowing that you had to prepare for a podcast, in your mind, preconceptually, what did you think you had to prepare for? I'm curious at how people think.
To be really honest, I thought we were going to talk about rejuvenating women.
Yeah, and we did a little bit, absolutely.
And at this point, I really don't need to prepare for it anymore. I can just swing it.
Yes.
But when I found out we were going to talk about me,
Yeah.
about 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, about 40, literally. Yeah, just before the program.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm not really ashamed by my past.
You shouldn't be.
So that's really what I thought. There was no preparation and a big freak out about 45 minutes ago.
That's awesome. So I'm going to ask you a couple more questions and we're going to conclude. So now I want you to talk to the avatar, the person who was Allie, who is struggling, this might be them. Somebody might say, hey, listen, they might play this for their kid, for their cousin. I want you to talk to them right now and tell them you're in your darkest place right now, but what do they need to do? Or what do they need to hear? What do you think what did you want to hear at that time?
Well, hindsight is 2020, but I'm a Christian. I love everything biblical, so I'm going to go that route.
Good for you.
There's a song, my favorite band in the world is Casting Crowns.
Okay.
What a great band. And they have this song called Just Be Held. And there's this one line that says, your world's not falling apart, it's falling into place.
Oh my God.
And when, back then, it's like my life is falling apart. My life is falling apart. And now looking back, it's going to be really hard work and you're going to suffer, but your world is falling into place. And I wouldn't be who I am today with the perceptions I have today if I wouldn't have walked through the fire first.
Absolutely. Your test is your testimony, right? Your test became your testimony. So now that you've told them that, and I hope that sinks in with them, what's their next step?
I'm a big advocate for treatment, to be really honest.
Okay, good.
I went 6 times, and not every time obviously worked out since I had to go so many times.
Sure,
but there's
sure.
no shame in getting help. It's very hard to just, do it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no shame in being around people who are going through exactly what you've gone through and, asking for help and utilizing those professionals and professional services.
I think it's pretty incredible that you're able to share your story. I get it why I was so impressed yesterday of who you were as a person. I get it now. I see all the pieces, you know what I mean? And I'm not here trying to butter you up, but I just want people to understand when they see Allie Knaus that they are truly, that it's just not what you see. this is what they're going to hear, and I'm going to share this, and I hope you share this as well. I'm going to share the link to the song on this episode, and I want them to understand who you are. And I think that if one person hears this, just one, who says, I can do it too, how awesome of a gift is that for you to be able to give?
Incredible. I mean, I met a lot of people when I was especially going through treatment, and unfortunately a lot of them aren't alive today. So for one person to really just get help and come through it, that's great.
That's awesome. Well, I'm sure people will try to correspond with you through, email or whatever, message you, and I hope that you're able to answer some of them back. But, I really think that you've taught me a lot today, even from yesterday. What I'm going to take away from this is just the drive that you had to help yourself. I don't want to say fix, right? I want to say help yourself and be able to identify. And you told me it doesn't go away. You know what I mean? It's still a challenge. But I just want you to know that you're surrounded by people that want you to be a champion like you are. And I'm sure that people hold you in their company for a reason. You know what I mean? And I just think it was awesome that organically, from just talking, that I got to know you.
Yeah. Thanks, Jay.
Thank you. So I just want to say thanks. Is there anybody you want to send a shout out to? Anybody you want to say hi to before we go at all?
That I want to shout out to.
Yeah, this is shout out time.
Well, I guess I could do my 5 friends.
Yeah, tell them.
Jana, Chelsea, Stephen, and Mandy.
Yeah.
My friend Joaquina, and I should give a shout out to my boss, Julie, too.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being on The Connection today.
Thanks.
So for all of her story, for all of Allie's story, all the links, man, I'm so blessed to have you on today. Thank you so much for listening to episode number 13 of The Connection.